Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video, we're going to take a look at what the Cardano price is doing compared to Bitcoin, how Bitcoin is doing. We start with Bitcoin and then we get to Cardano and do a deeper dive. We do a technical analysis update. And again, thanks for all your support. And let's just start with Bitcoin first. Where are we now? We seem to be breaking out now and we seem to make higher highs. And that is really good news, I think. It really seems like this down here might now have been the low. I've been looking for a confirmation of that uptrend and it seems to get more and more likely. We've now broken out above that neckline here, that resistance line, and this is, by the way, the hourly chart of Bitcoin. And if we zoom in, we have that descending trend line that we also put on the chart earlier today on the Cardano chart. You pretty much have the same thing with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has just broken through that. Actually, just before I made this video, Cardano has already broken above that trend line a little bit earlier today, but still the Cardano chart looks in some way a little bit worse than the Bitcoin chart, but we get to that in a minute. Bitcoin has made over 2% now in the last 24 hours, and that candle is a nice green candle. And you have really that sort of perfect trend line here coming down. We then got away from that trend line, but now we're getting there, and we had this breakout build-up phase here where we've made higher lows, higher highs. Couldn't really push the price away from that level anymore, and now we pushed through. Seem to be preparing for a retest here, so what that candle will be doing in the end is quite crucial. But it could really be that we stay above that descending trend line, and even though it's a descending trend line, it's quite an important one that clearly the price oriented itself on for a while now. Has been orienting itself for a while now. And actually what you had also on a larger scale was something like a descending wedge. That trend line here we've put onto the chart for yesterday or day before, and that was actually even before I put that trend line on, because that really only emerged today, because before that it wasn't really a trend line, because I only had that price action up here that really was very close to that trend line. But then today we could see really that we found some resistance at that trend line. So if I extended that trend line here, then you could find some resistance here and really trailed along, and then we saw the breakout. So a very clear line, but actually it is also very close to that 44,000 level at the moment. So two things coming together here again. And if you think, why is this really a trend line here? Well, it is one, because on the daily it works out perfectly. Here you can see that on the hourly, you can see that we actually had some candles close below it, but on the daily we didn't. So that's why I put it onto this chart. And yeah, descending wedge, which is a bullish pattern, essentially a bullish continuation and also reversal pattern, because essentially that is what happens. It's a bullish pattern, descending triangle. It's a phase of a consolidation, and it makes sense if we zoom out further. I can't really zoom out further on the 1 hour chart here, but it doesn't matter. You have got the price coming up. We came up all the way from 30,000 to 53,000, then dropped, and this could then be seen in the larger scale as a range of consolidation. And it also makes sense in terms of the Elliott wave count. I mean, I haven't really done one on Bitcoin, but I imagine it will be very similar to Cardano, where we've got that ABC correction at the moment going on here. You've got that phase A, you've got that wave A, B and C coming down here, even lower than the wave A. So that works out perfectly. From which perspective then on, if we really build that impulsive momentum, we'll get two nice higher levels, continue the impulsive move to the upside. But I don't want to talk too much about Bitcoin. We go straight to Cardano, and I did say Cardano, it looks a bit, I don't know, it looks so strange, because we haven't, what I need to say, we've broken above that descending trend line. It's pretty much, you could relate that descending trend line that we've got on the chart here, which I put on in my earlier video onto the chart. You could really relate that to Bitcoin's descending trend line up here. Yeah, it's very similar. Whereas Bitcoin has just broken out in a huge move. Well, huge, relative, not massive, but a nice green candle. Cardano hasn't really done that, and Cardano hasn't really done that because we've actually broken above that line already, earlier actually today. So we've broken out earlier today above that line, try to get below it again, bounce actually off the 218 level again, the horizontal support, and then now we've come up above that line again. So I think I don't know how valid that line really is for Cardano, but for Bitcoin it seems to be very relevant. But also here, and that's what I said earlier, with Cardano you have also something actually like a channel here within which we are currently, or have actually been, and potentially you could also have something, I really haven't had a closer look, but potentially something like a descending wedge as well, but I would need to find the points where to really connect it, because essentially you want at least three touch points, so would need to find that, and I'm sure I would be able to find one. So that would then indicate as well that this is something like a bull flag on a larger scale, and we can see that if we're zooming out maybe on the 4-hour chart, you can really see it looks like a dragon actually. Quite funny actually. I mean, look how that, it looks like a monster of Loch Ness or something. But yeah, you've got you've got that it looks like a horse or whatever. It looks quite funny actually. Anyway, we've got that descending I don't know, I forgot what I wanted to say, descending wedge potentially, and that is also then an indicator of why we could continue to the upside. It works all very well together with the Elliott wave counts as well. I think we start to form the bottom now slowly. We might come back down one more time. That's my personal view. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe we've seen the low already, but I think we already get very close to the price tag that I gave you up here somewhere. Of 185, so we came down to nearly 185. We came down to 189. I think we could come down once more if we fail to break above these crucial levels here, especially the 230, which is an important one. That is that horizontal support level that we had in that descending triangle here. So we haven't managed to get above it yet. I really want to see that higher high that Bitcoin has done already. So we have made another high here at the moment, potentially come down a little bit now, but Bitcoin looks a little bit more bullish than Cardano at the moment. But nevertheless, I think in the end, Cardano will follow what Bitcoin is doing at the moment. The only crypto that has really, or one of the cryptos that, I mean, we've been talking about that earlier today as well, is really Coty, that has really broken out of that shape here already. Coty has clearly outperformed the others. I just want to mention Coty briefly here, because Coty is actually already at a very, very high level compared to the other cryptos. You know, where we have already seen the high, a high with the other cryptos. Coty is just forming the high now, right? So you don't really see that move here with Coty where we've come up and come down. We haven't had that correction here really, only a very small one, and from then on now we are starting to move to the upside. So maybe Coty is leading the way here and the others will follow. Essentially, if you zoom out with Cardano, that is essentially something like a bull flag on a very large scale here, where you have essentially somewhere here your wave to the upside, corrective wave, and then there will be another wave to the upside. And if we take a closer look at my Elliott wave count, we are essentially here still in that movement of wave C. We've come down all the way down to that target level, very, very close into the target box pretty much. The only thing we need to see now is that wave C correction over yet or not. Don't know yet. Yeah, we need to see that impulsive move to the upside to continue that larger move and that larger continuation of wave 3 in which we are. And if people get confused, you know, other people talking about a wave 5 potentially, and yes, it all depends on which time frame you're looking at. Essentially, I'm talking about a primary or cycle wave 1 here that was formed in May, came down also in May to that wave 2 correction, and since then we've been forming this massive wave 3, and the wave 3 is oftentimes the longest one, which makes sense in the current context. This year was not wave 3 yet because we have come down too far essentially, so we haven't finished that massive wave 3 yet. And overall, that 1, 2, 3 pattern here, which will be followed by a 4 and 5, is embedded in an even larger picture of another larger wave. So it all depends on, you know, which, if you look at different YouTube channels or even look at different blog articles or technical analysis, you know what I mean? Then it all depends on you which time frame you're looking at and sort of what scale of Elliott waves, because essentially I've just been talking about wave 1, 2, 3, but essentially that move here when we started that latest move to the upside in July, that was as well here. We had back in June, we had a wave C, correction finished, and we had that move to the upside, which was a wave 1, came down into a wave 2, came up to wave 3, corrected in a wave 4, and then moved up to a wave 5. Essentially, that is also, that whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move was again another larger wave 1 from down here to there, another another wave 1, and then a wave 2 we are in at the moment. Again, if you get confused, that wave 2, essentially part of that wave 2 is that smaller scale ABC correction. And I did say, you know, when I've got a bit more time, I might do a tutorial video on Elliott Waves, and I might do that on my second channel. You can find a link in the description on which I talk every day about technical analysis. I talk about different concepts, different indicators, different ways of identifying trends. So if you're interested in Elliott Wave, I'm sure I'll do an Elliott Wave video on there very soon as well. And it's of course free to subscribe there as well. And that's pretty much the update now. So let's hope we have found the bottom, but Cardano is still to break out, and Bitcoin has, even though it's broken out now to the upside out of that descending trend line, Bitcoin also has to close the daily above that level, and we have to have a successful retest, and Cardano is still has to break out of that, you know, essentially above that level here. And even though I think we are actually above that trend line at the moment, we also need to break above that horizontal 230 here to really continue our move to the upside. So hopefully that video was useful. Hope you liked it. If you did, please smash the like button, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye.